Million questions for you guys, but I like throwing some curveballs at the beginning. If someone has never seen anything you've done before, besides Rebel Moon, because obviously everyone should watch Rebel Moon, what is the first thing they should watch and why?
Well, I'm going to throw a curveball right back and tell you that this is the first movie I've ever done.
Wait a minute. I just remembered that, and I'm so sorry, but I knew that. And I should have started with a different question. So I will give you the exception and say Rebel Moon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say...
I'm so sorry. I knew that.
No.
Kind of a flex, though. Like, this is my first movie.
I mean, no big deal or whatever.
A bit of a flex. I would say, weirdly, I don't know, since we're curveballing, Last Man on Earth, just because no matter what genre I do, I just think it's important to know... I think it's important for people to know the comedy background that I approach everything with. Sure. I think maybe it's good to know that.
No.
I don't know.
I would say Zack Snyder's Justice League, faux show, because it's one of the greatest comic book movies of all time.
The director's cut of that film is spectacular, and I was going to go into a tangent, but it really is. I love the director's his version. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So making both these films. What was the night before you were shooting something that you were actually in your head about it in terms of like, this is going to be a really big day and I really got to deliver and I'm not sleeping?
Yeah, I have one because I joined a little later, and my scene, the first time you see me, I have quite a lot to say. And in the schedule, I think you guys hadn't shot much dialogue yet. So it was the first really big, heavy dialogue scene of the shoot. And not only that, it was on a massive green screen, and I had to emerge from my spaceship and walk all the way across this massive, massive stage and hit a black mark on a black floor. So I was just like, what the, and it was like, I think 4 or 5 days we shot that.
It was a while, yeah. That was a big sequence.
Yeah, and by the 5th day I was like, what are words? I don't know. But the night before I was a bit like, okay, got to get all the lines right.
For me, I couldn't sleep because I was just excited. I was like, oh man, I can't wait to get up and do this shit. It's going to be fucking awesome. Wait, can I say that on TV? Okay, well, bleep it out because my mom's probably listening. But I was going to be like, hey, listen, this is going to be awesome. It's one of those things I can't sleep because I'm literally just like, okay, I want to get up and go have fun with my friends.
Sure.
Yeah, I think for me, it was the first big fight sequence that I had to do because I'd never had any experience like that. And I generally consider myself pretty gangly and uncoordinated. So hopefully it looks good to the viewers.
One of the things that's really cool about this is that it's really hard to make big budget original IP. And I really give Zack and Netflix a lot of credit for making something like this. And it's a 2-part movie. So can you sort of talk about being part of something like this that isn't based on, other IP?
Oh, well, it's great. You get to originate something, right? And how often does that happen these days? Especially something that's going to be as big as what this universe is going to be. I mean, Rebel Moon we're already expanding into the comics as well. They have House of the Blood Axe, a prequel comic that's going to accompany the film, I think a couple weeks after in January. And it's massive. Like it does, with all the work that I've done, this feels like it is the most humbling because it's a very fresh beginning.
Sure.
Yeah, it's super rare, I think, to have a completely original IP. It's really, really exciting. And like to sit there with Zack and have him just tell you the whole movie off the top of his head because it's all just swimming around in there is just like a really exciting opportunity that doesn't come around very often.
Yeah, it's just exciting to be a part of, and to be helping someone like Zack realize this vision is just like a true honor.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what is something in both part 1 and part 2 that you are incredibly excited for audiences to see?
Well, we can't tell you about part 2.
You'd be surprised how much people have said.
They're probably going to edit that out.
No. But it's not spoilers. It's not like someone saying, well, this character, does. It's more generalization.
Gotcha.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just excited for people to get to know Devra more. I think there's a lot more to come.
Yeah, I think that part 1 is definitely the team building. And I think what I think folks are going to really enjoy in part 2 is the sort of expansion of that, right? We get a more in-depth look at the characters that we grow to love in part 1.
Sure.
Yeah. We get to focus a little bit more on a single world in the second one, and so I think that viewers will be able to see the detail that went into building that world, which is really exciting to see.
One of the things, listen, I am a big fan of Zack Snyder's director's cuts. For me, that is like, listen, I'm super happy they made the PG-13. I encourage everyone to watch it, but I know that the director's cut for me is probably going to be the one I rewatch again and again. Is there anything that you can tease about the longer cut that you are incredibly excited for people to see?
I haven't seen the extended cut just yet, but whatever it is, I know it's going to be awesome.
Well, it's R-rated, no?
It is R-rated, and that's one of the other reasons why I am, I'm an adult. I'm looking forward to seeing, like, for example, Zach said to me that the cantina scene in the PG-13 is the cantina scene, and in the R-rated one, it's the brothel scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, there are definitely some interesting alts in the filming of it all that you'll be able to see in the extended version. But at the end of the day, it's that interesting mix of like, there's a world in which all of these things can exist at the same time. And I think they're doing something really interesting and something that probably will change how movies get made because when folks watch this and they love it and then they watch the extended version and they love that, all the streamers may end up going, hey, look, we need multiple rated versions of these things. How do we make that happen?
One of the things, I'll switch to something else. One of the things, I don't get you guys in trouble. This was a long shoot. This is a 153-day shoot. And I'm curious, as actors, what is it like when you're filming something like this, which is essentially a marathon? Because you can't really you know what I mean? Like you really got to be prepared for such a long period of time. So as performers, what is that actually like? And how are you mentally and physically keeping yourself together for such a shoot?
I think in some ways the gym helped, having that sense of routine and place for us to go and all be together kept a sense of like normalcy or like consistency around it. And then just like all the boring stuff, like making sure you sleep and eat and call your mom and yeah.
I mean, I don't know how Sofia did it. I mean, she runs on a completely different level of energy than anybody I've ever seen. Well, she and Zach both run on completely different levels of energy than people I've ever seen. But those are the folks who really help to keep you grounded and to make sure that everybody's feeling good, right? That sort of thing. Because, the rest of us, we may not be on set every day, right? We may get a couple days off or maybe a week off between certain things. But she was in it like full on almost the entire time. And so was Zach.
Sure.
I was in and out. So I don't know if that's easier or harder, but like I was like at home. I think there were times when I had like a month or two or, at home and having to just stay ready and then come back and like be consistent.
Yeah, but that's the other thing is that they could call you tomorrow and be like, we need you for a half day. And mentally being ready for that. Yeah,
you got to stay ready. Just stay ready all year.
I know I got to wrap, but just real quick, I am very curious about Malcolm Washington's The Piano Lesson. So what can you tease?
I can tease it's going to be great. And I can tease I had a beautiful experience on that. And actually, funny enough, both Malcolm and Zach had come to see a play that I'd done in LA this past summer, and I got to introduce them to each other. So I said it was a peak experience having two of the best film director experiences I've had converge in one place. I said, everything's coming full circle.
On that note, I really do hope it's a huge hit for you guys, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you.
And stay healthy.
Thank you.